Seriously? What? They won't stop calling me. I mean, I've never voted, and I never will.
Wait, you're not registered to vote? Okay. And you are registered to vote. I know, it's just that easy. Now you have a voice in what happens to the future of our country. It's pretty powerful.
It's amazing. And to think I was going to kill you.
History and fate meet at a single time, in a single place, to shape a turning point in man's unending search for freedom. In our time, we have come to live with the moments of great crisis. Our lives have been marked with debate about great issues of war and peace, issues of prosperity and depression. But rarely are we met with a challenge, not to our growth or abundance, or our welfare or our security, but rather to the values and the purposes and the meaning of our beloved nation.
What we need in the United States is not division. What we need in the United States is not hatred. What we need in the United States is not violence and lawlessness, but is love and wisdom and compassion toward one another.
I urge every member of both parties, Americans of all religions and of all colors, from every section of this country, to join me in that cause. The government of the greatest nation on earth. Our mission is at once the oldest and the most basic of this country. To right wrong, to do justice, to serve man.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.
This shit ain't a lie, you love or you die. This shit ain't a lie, you love or you...
I can't be a pessimist because I'm alive. To be a pessimist means that you have agreed that human life is an academic matter. So I'm forced to be an optimist. I'm forced to believe that we can survive whatever we must survive.
May I ask you, what is your outlook on life?
Well, I'm scared of the world that I live in. They've put babies in cages, Grandma. And last week, another black trans woman died. And the president talked about my body like I wasn't even a person.
I didn't say that at all. I don't think you understood what was said. This was locker room talk.
Floyd's murder swallowed me whole.
I can breathe. Please, the name of it.
When I vote next month, I'm doing it for the promise of equity and the preservation of black girls, black girl laughter. That maybe my children can breathe in clean air, know a world where women are believed, and where nobody has to die.
You still got a life before you.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So just keep up your good work, and you will be all right.
Imagine what they'll say of us when the dust has settled on an evening in the equinox and they're seeing that heavy, weightless earth from high in orbit. When our age is as long and far ago as the first knowing, talking toolmakers seem now. They'll think of us for a second, for a minute if we're lucky. They'll think of the traditions we had and values, using those old symbols, fire, stone, and water. They'll think of all we created and all we destroyed, and they'll soon lose sight of the difference. Then they'll look at our hopes and our fears and begin to grasp at what it was all about. All we prepared for and all we succumbed to. They'll consider us, all of us, all our language and movement and strife. And they'll conclude, as anyone would if one could see 10 billion unsolvable puzzles in motion, in focus at once, that no matter how hard they tried, they could not capture it. That moment in space, that place and time when life happened. And we are of the lucky few, if we're talking stars and grains of sand, who got to be a part of it. We got a chance to figure out what we stood for out of the ocean, to understand why we are here when it turned to oblivion. So as the sun eclipses behind their home, our globe, and they're plunged into darkness, they'll think of us. And they'll know whether we gave it our best.
USA! USA! Pledge allegiance.
People ask me, what are you going to do for the election? Now the question is, what are you going to do? Because in the end, the biggest threat to our democracy is indifference.
Of course, indifference can be tempting. It is so much easier to look away from victims. It is, after all, awkward to be involved in another person's pain and despair.
Empathy, the ability to walk in someone else's shoes, the recognition that someone else's experience has value too.
People are suffering. People are dying. The eyes of all future generations are upon you. How dare you continue to look away and come here saying that you're doing enough when the politics and solutions needed are still nowhere in sight. You say you hear us and that you understand the urgency. But no matter how sad and angry I am, I do not want to believe that. Because if you really understood the situation and still kept on failing to act, then you would be evil, and that I refuse to believe.
Jesus Christ. Are you good, dude? Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, sorry. I'm fine. It's just a weird dream. What happened? It's just like, a global pandemic and like millions of people dying, people rioting and burning shit down all over the country, and then like pedophiles on an island. I don't even know, it was ridiculous. That sounds horrible. Yeah, it was crazy. Thank God we voted in 2016. Yeah. Thank God, yeah. Alright, man, I'm gonna grab some food. I'm starving. Wait, you're going outside? Yeah, I'm gonna grab
Right now?
Yeah, do you want some?
No, I just don't think that's a super great idea. Once we get some food in the back.
No, I want a burger.
I think you should just.
What are you doing? Dude, let go of me. What the fuck?
Yo, we gotta go. They're almost here.
What are you talking about?
Pack your stuff, please. Just pack your stuff.
Pack what stuff?
We're going to Canada. There's not much time to explain. Please, just listen to me. Here, pack this.
Why are we going to Canada? Dude, you need to talk to me. What's going on?
Why do you have a knife? Because we gotta go now. We have to go now. Let's go.
Jesus Christ, what is going on? Hey, are you good, dude? What happened?
The election results are.
And?
You treat this like a flu.
Oh, no.
Hey,
Wake
it's
up,
a
no.
cancer.
Wake up. No. Wake up.
Welcome to Pizza Shack. What can I get you? I'm sorry. Look, if this is some sort of social media challenge, it's not funny. It's just weird. Ah, having a tough time deciding, huh? Don't worry about it, bro. I got a killer combo for you. Let's start off with an Alfredo pesto blend for the sauce. That's extra. Is that okay? Hey, don't worry, bro. It's totally worth it. Now, let's add shredded mozzarella and cheddar, grilled chicken, salami. Go ahead and throw some pepperoni on there too while you're at it. Let's see, black olives, bell peppers.
Oh, Rocky!
It's almost dinner time, and you still haven't voted yet.
I'm getting to it.
Johnny, don't you lie to me.
I don't know, there's just so many things to vote for on the ballot this year, and that even makes some sense.
That's what the voter's guide's for, lad. Educate yourself.
Well, if it's so important to you, then why don't you go vote?
You know I'm from Ontario.
Oh, Yeah, my bad.
You've already registered. Don't you want your voice heard by your representatives?
Yeah.
So what are you gonna do?
I'm gonna vote.
You're gonna what?
I'm gonna vote.
All day!
All day!
All day!
All day!
Why are you voting?
Because I'm not dumb as a rock!
Dumb as a what, Johnny?
Nothing.
Go on, say it.
No.
Say it.
No.
Say it.
No.
Say it!
I'm not dumb as a rock!
Don't be dumb as a rock. Vote on November 3rd.
Life can be bright in America.
If you can fight in America.
Life is alright in America.
If you're all white in America.
This award is so much more than myself. It represents a culture that wants to see themselves as heroes.
Also asking you to believe in your own ability, to embrace your own responsibility as citizens, to make sure that the basic tenets of our democracy endure.
I vote for truth to rise up.
También para mejorar los derechos de las mujeres y niñas de nuestro país.
I vote for affordable health care.
For education reform in urban communities.
I vote for the future of my grandchildren.
For immigration reform.
For a Green New Deal.
I'm voting for science.
For the safety of gay marriage.
For someone who wants our family in this country.
I vote so that my voice is heard.
En nombre de Shun, de la Guadalupana, de Santa Celina, and Jenny from the Block. Amen.
Oh, hi! Didn't see you there. I'm Ash, and I was just about to call my friend Trish. Hey girl, what's poppin'? Well, I was actually just about to fill out my ballot. No way! Me too, girl. Oh wait, Char's on my line. Hold on. Hey Char, what's going on? Honestly guys, I'm really scared. I feel like everything in the world is falling apart. I'm sorry, Char. Good news is, there's something you can do about it. What's that? Vote. Duh. Ugh, you guys are so right. Hold on. Bee's trying to call me. Let me put her on the line. Hey, loves. Hey, Bee. We were just talking about how important it is to vote this year. Oh, well, to be honest, I wasn't really planning on voting this year. What? What's the point? What's at stake? B, hundreds of thousands of lives are at stake. There's so much going on right now that if you can even think about not voting, you should also think about your privilege and your part in our country. Every vote counts, so no matter what you believe in, we need to do everything we can. I think I see your point. I mean, I really do want our country to be the best it can be. That's the spirit, B. Oh, you're still here. Well, you heard it from us. Make your plan to vote today and vote like your life depends on it. Catch you on the flip side.
Hey, it's AJ. I'm in downtown LA interviewing potential voters about issues that affect me and millions of others like me this election year. So do you believe in universal health care?
Actually, I do.
I think like we put a lot of trust in our government, and they should, take care of all of its citizens.
I wouldn't have been able to afford the care that I got if it wasn't for, say, for example, Obamacare or something like it.
There's so many people who have died, like hundreds of thousands of people who've died because they have no health care, but they just can't afford to pay for it.
People have been saved from coronavirus if we had modernized universal health care.
Been saved, shit. I already lost like 3 people.
Do you believe that business owners, due to their religious beliefs, should be able to deny services to people based on their sexual orientation or gender identity?
No, that shouldn't be a thing, no. Because honestly, it's not their fault if they're gay or not. You're trying to make money, right? Just fucking do it.
No, if they're open to the public, they should be open to everyone.
It doesn't matter where you're from, where you live. It should be treated equal.
Did you know that business owners can and have denied services to people based on sexual orientation?
Oh yeah, that's that's their right now currently, and I don't agree with that.
What do you think about that?
That's insane. I did not know that at all.
I'm an unemployed college student right now receiving unemployment benefits. However, I make too much this year, so I don't receive any healthcare benefits, and I'm expected to pay thousands of dollars this year for them, which I can't afford. Do you believe that is an issue at all?
I believe that's horrible. Like me also, that I'm unemployed at the moment, but then I take certain gigs and I make so much on that it affects how healthcare can happen.
What's something that you can do this election year to help people like myself and yourself with these issues?
Please go vote this year.
Like, we all have a voice, we all have something to say. Like, might as well say it now than wait later.
You have to vote.
We have to vote.
Vote 2020.
How do we conceptualize what feels like the most incomprehensible year of our lives? We are living through a pandemic that's taking lives, young and old, and separating us from our loved ones. We're living through rapid climate change that's impacting our own communities, jeopardizing landscape of places we love and those we dream to visit. And Black Americans, facing systemic racism due to our broken justice system. We are experiencing personal and collective tragedy, grieving for ourselves, our loved ones, our fellow Americans, and our planet. But there's also hope. We have the power to change things. This year in 2020, we are going to vote. All of us. Because as young people, we make up almost 40% of eligible voters. That means we get to use our voice and our vote to turn this world around for the better. Here's how we're going to do it. Your mail-in ballot will be sent to you October 5th. Our postal service is under strain, so we need to send our ballots back immediately. When you fill out your ballot, make sure you use black or blue ink, sign and seal the envelope, and don't make any extra marks, or else your vote won't count. If you chose to vote in person, you can do it at a voting center starting October 30th. Visit vote.org to find the voting center closest to you. Young people have the power to sway this election. The things we care about, the problems that crystallized in 2020, are problems that we can hold our representatives accountable to address. That's why in 2020, we are going to vote. All of us.
Vote.
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 Come here and give me a hug before I go.
Don't, sweetie, you're being rude. Go give Uncle John a hug.
I want to get a hug from you.
Can we not do this right now? I don't feel so good.
Oh, come on. I walked you all the way home. Don't be a tease.
Actually, Dave, I disagree. I think that exposes us to unwarranted liability.
Dave, you can ignore her. Everything's a liability when you're hitting menopause.
Sexist, lewd, borderline harassing workplace behavior.
Is now the 16th woman to publicly accuse President Trump of sexual misconduct.
Woman shrinking in her seat. I mean, it's
grabbed her breasts and put his hands up her skirt on a plane.
Tried to push him away.
Forcibly kissed her and pinned her down while
a star, you can get away with anything when it comes to women. He forced himself
her in the 90s.
Just grabbed my ass. And he was like, what do you want to do about it? I was like, I was silent, you know? I don't want to do anything.
Two years ago, Oscar and I decided to commit to a long-distance relationship.
I disconnect the microphone and I don't want to wake you up. That would be terrible.
He was living in Barcelona, and I was living in the United States.
¿Qué dices? ¿Cómo tiene esa cara?
¿Dónde está la paradita, señorita?
We will be suspending all travel from Europe to the United States for the next 30 days.
I was devastated. I couldn't go see Oscar, and he couldn't come see me. And I don't know when we'll see each other again. But really, I know I shouldn't talk about Oscar and I when there are people dying of coronavirus, there are people losing their homes and their jobs. There are people just fighting for their basic human rights out in the streets. Everyone in the world has had their own world flipped upside down, and we're still watching it happen.
China should have never let that happen. Don't be afraid of it.
110,000 Americans dead.
Because at the end of the day, we are voting for our communities and our families, and the people we love and trust. But I'm also voting for myself, because I want my voice to be heard in who represents me.
I'm you from the future, here to teach you a lesson. I'm here to tell you to vote in this year's election. It's your civil duty, it's how your voice is heard. There are plenty of people who can't vote because they're birds. And birds can't vote. So do you like freedom? Yeah, we like freedom. Do you like democracy? Yeah, we like democracy too. Get yourself a ballot and vote, and do it honestly. Learn about the candidates. If there's one regret that I have, what's the one regret that you have? It's that I let my community down instead of voting on their behalf. So if you want that minimum wage up, you wanna bring that sucker down, you want birds to have the right to vote, you gotta raise your voice. And now everybody say birds should vote. Birds should vote. Birds should vote. Birds should vote. What your values are, however strange, you gotta go vote. It's how you make things change.
It's one word to summarize it up: sabotage. They literally sent it via the slowest mail possible. Went to UPS, I went to Purelator, I went to FedEx, I went to Canada Post. All of them just said it will arrive around like a day later after the election. I exhausted my options, and then I was about to give up. For some reason, I don't know why, I just like typed in like Malaysian like election on Facebook or something like that, Canada. And then I found the group name called G14 Postal Voters Discussion. We came up with a plan. She said, I will drive to Seattle and I'll take your ballot to Chester.
So I was in Seattle, right? So there's this guy from Oregon. I think he need to drive 1-2 hours to come and find me. And then the other girls, she really drive all the way from Canada to here. On the flight, I also meet with the other 2 girls. One people sending the word back from San Francisco, another one sending back from New York.
I think the boat reached Penang Airport at 3 something, and I have to be in Alostar like before 5 to cast in the boat. So it was quite late.
Hi, my name's Heidi. I'm 18, and my life is kind of terrible right now. You see, my boyfriend just broke up with me over a text in the middle of a global pandemic when I was supposed to be spending my first year of college all the way across the country, but instead I am stuck in my childhood bedroom. I only leave my house twice a week to go to work, where I earn $9 an hour. And all I do is stay at home and think about how unhappy I am. Yeah, it's not the best time. I feel like I don't really have control over anything. But there is one thing I do have control over. Well, kind of. It's complicated. But by voting, it's sort of a type of control. It's a way to make your voice heard. It's a way to help choose what the government does, because, like it or not, the government has a lot of control. They have a lot of power and abilities to allocate resources and funds and change the way we view things and change what we prioritize. It's about what you want your neighborhoods to look like. It's about who you want to protect. It's about what we want to value. So yeah, go vote for my sake.
It's easy for a lot of voters to think that their vote doesn't matter in the federal election.
Even if you don't want to vote in the federal election, I really would recommend going and voting for the local elections.
I feel particularly empowered by local elections because my vote means so much more. It's not 1 out of 300 million, it's 1 out of 100,000.
The people that we're electing to these local councils are the ones who, are ultimately representing us to the highest degree.
And we can direct them towards the future that we're all envisioning.
Casting your vote is selecting what kind of vision you want for your community.
Local government is a lot more intimately familiar with the stuff that is actually needed. They're the ones who make the very important decisions about the things that affect our day-to-day lives.
I think local elections have the most direct impact on us.
I am voting in local elections because I live in places affected by local elections.
In preparation for the elections, I normally like to do my own research and see who is sponsoring the propositions or the changes in laws, who's supporting different candidates.
I try to get familiar with the propositions, and then I look in a couple different voter guides for information about those candidates.
I try and find voting guides according to community organizations that I follow.
Take the time to figure out which districts you're actually voting for.
Don't ignore the rest of the ballot. Local elections matter greatly.
Hey, Brody, it's your sister. Are you gonna vote today?
Probably not.
What do you mean, probably not? What could you possibly have to do that's more important than voting?
I don't know. Maybe hang out in the hot tub, have a beer.
Brody, voting is your civic duty. I mean, a 102-year-old woman voted in a hazmat suit. And when she was born, she didn't even have the right to vote.
Yeah, I just fail to see how it affects me, so I don't really know.
Brody, you're such a piece of shit!
Whatever. Whoa, no way. I figure out how to time travel?
Brody, man, you gotta go vote.
Good one.
I'm serious. First you knock up Denise and she's a kid and you become a dad.
Nah, she wouldn't do that. She doesn't want kids.
Yeah, man, but they make abortions illegal. She doesn't have a choice.
Okay, that's pretty effed, but, I guess it's still her problem.
Yeah, well then you get ball cancer.
What? I'm too young to get cancer.
No, man. Testicular cancer is most common between the ages of 15 and 35. We can't afford the surgery because the government repeals the Affordable Care Act. It spreads to our lymph nodes and we die. So you gotta go vote.
I die? How are you here?
I'm a ghost, dude. You think I would have wasted my one astral projection call from hell if I didn't think your vote mattered?
Now return to your eternity of doom. Vote on November 3rd, or go to hell. Your choice.
thinking about you, Daddy, thinking of you night and day. I've been afraid that you'd leave me, Daddy, leave me to go far away. Think of the day when we first met each other. You promised me that we'd be good pals forever. Dear, don't you leave me, it sure will grieve me. Don't go away to stay. Don't leave me, Daddy. Won't you tell me why you're leaving? When you're near me, dearie, life to me is cheery. Oh, such a feeling. Think what you're missing. Lots of hugging and some kissing. I don't care how mean you are to me. Daddy, don't you leave me now, sweet papa. Daddy, don't you leave me now.
Comedian and writer Christina Walkinshaw.
I'm stand-up comedian Sheena Graham.
Tammy Pescatelli.
Dan Cummins. Shane Moss.
Shantae Wayans.
Russell Peters.
Adam Hunter here.
April Macy.
Ben Glebe here.
Hey, this is comedian Ahmed. Whether you're Republican, Democrat, or Independent, doesn't matter. Get out there and vote this year.
I personally can't wait to vote. But I can't because I'm Canadian. So can you please go vote for me? It would mean a lot. I can lend you a pen.
Not every place gets to vote. Not every place allows their citizens to have a voice.
My voice sounds like a man, but I'm still a woman, and I'm still gonna vote.
If you skip it, you're super dumb. What you don't do is not vote and then just bitch.
So I'm gonna vote so I can keep bitching.
Go out and vote like it's a TikTok challenge.
It's one thing to argue with people on TikTok and Twitter and Facebook and Farmers Only and Christian Mingle and Soul Swipe, but you gotta actually vote.
Hurl your dumb body over to like an elementary school. 3 blocks from me.
It is important this year, more than any other year, that you vote.
In a country where we determine leadership by having 2 decrepit old rich dudes roast each other's cognitive deficits and then give the winner a doomsday device. Why?
I married an Iranian, and so we were dealing with the travel ban during this current administration. That's why you got to vote for all the things you care about. They wouldn't let my husband in. There he is.
And now they don't let me out.
You want him in? You want him out? You got to vote.
Our power is in our vote.
Don't be part of the problem, be part of the solution.
Want to see change? Vote.
2020 marks the 100th year anniversary of a woman's right to vote.
Make your voice heard, make your vote count.
Be the gal who votes.
Oh, this isn't. Oh, I thought we were talking about playing college football. What are we talking about?
Coming out was one of the most frightening experiences I've had to go through. I needed months to build my courage day by day until I finally felt ready. But one day I woke up to some news that took all my courage and crumbled it to dust. Following government proposal to legalize same-sex marriage, thousands of people all over my country had taken the streets to protest against the proposal, against gay marriage. I think gay marriage shouldn't be allowed, I'd hear from friends. I'm fine with it as long as it's not in public. Even family relatives would come to tell me I'd join the protest if I could. I felt defeated. Same-sex marriage was eventually rejected, and I was left alone thinking, if my community was against me, why did my voice matter? How could a single drop change the direction of a relentless current? As the months passed, I reconstructed my courage piece by piece until I finally came out to my community. But to my surprise, I found people who were going through the similar experiences themselves and the same silent torture. We found a safe space with each other, and we spoke up together. Our silence had us believe that we were alone, but we realized that we weren't single drops going against the current. We were a whole wave. The problem of silence isn't just true to my specific situation, but to all kinds of beliefs and identities across populations, all feeling as I did, asking themselves, why does my voice matter? I won't let silence fool me anymore, and I encourage you to do the same. Yes, it's rough, and what you say will sometimes not make the difference you want it to make, but what you don't say never will. You are not a single drop. Defend your voice. Vote. Wherever you live, whatever you believe in, you have a saying in who your community is. My vote is my voice. Will you use yours?
Your local public pool. Beautiful, pristine, and full of chlorine. Home to many of Earth's most fascinating creatures. And here we have one of the ecosystem's most vital species, the paper ballot. Known to come in many forms, the version we see here is the crucial local election ballot. Oh dear. The school appears to have sensed the presence of their only known predator. The pencil. And there you have it, the circle of life.
My name is Abby Fenton.
Hi, I am Tiffany Chung.
My name is Tony West.
My name is Priya.
My name is Maria Ashby.
My name is Michael Brooks.
And this is why I vote.
And this is why I vote.
And this is why I vote.
I grew up with a brother with a developmental disability. Sociologists, political scientists, demographers, economists, they all look at the data of who voted in the election and how, and whether it be generational split or split by other metrics such as disability, it's so important that groups are voting.
In 5th grade, my teacher gave me a book about Sojourner Truth. I was fascinated by this tall woman who looked like me. Not only did she fight for her rights, but she also fought for the rights of others. And that's why it's important to vote, not only for your self-interest, but the interest of those around you, and more importantly, those that will come after you.
We are one of the biggest voting blocs as students. Why waste an opportunity? I lived in a community that was heavily affected by a gas leak due to the ineptitude of this corporate company. This happens all the time. Kids in the Bronx are exposed to higher levels of air pollution and pollutants because they're in a lower socioeconomic area.
Growing up gay with so many queer friends and family, I understand how uncomfortable it can be to go out in public if you aren't presenting in a way that's deemed acceptable for you based on someone else's perception of your sex or gender. I know that our safety, our rights, and our resources are so fragile sometimes that they hang on the thread of one single ballot.
A lot of times I had to bring my daughter to school with me, and we should not be put in a position where we have to settle for people that we don't fully trust to watch our children because we aren't able to afford the high and still rising childcare costs.
Growing up, I've realized that it shouldn't depend on chance that someone believes in you. I think that should be the role of our government so that every child has the opportunity to shine.
Use your voice and please vote.
Don't just talk the talk, walk the walk as well.
I'm here, I'm disabled, I'm proud, and I'm voting.
Our public education system does a pretty bad job drawing a through line between like historical forms of voter suppression and current forms of voter suppression. We did learn about like literacy tests and poll taxes and everything that happened during like the Jim Crow era, but there wasn't much focus on how those voter suppression practices have became like blended more into society over time.
Voting is a privilege. It wasn't always available to every group across the United States. It's only been so long since women had the right to vote.
The process for getting your absentee ballot from Texas, it's really, really bad. It's all in paper and through the mail, so I do fear that it is suppressive to have so many steps to getting your absentee ballot.
My parents had to go through all these loopholes in order for us to become citizens, and it's something that I was born into, and the privileges I have now are not privy to everyone.
My grandpa fled a war-torn country. He was an orphaned by war. My dad was born and raised in Cyprus and came here, and the first election he voted was in 2000. So every time I vote, I feel like I think of my father and my grandfather.
Like as a child of immigrants who have come from a country with a dictator and like where their voting system was cheated and where they didn't have a voice, I've been taught that voting is very important to the community.
Voting is a way for all of us to have our voices heard, not so much as individuals, but as a collective.
Historically, young people have been the lowest turnout of all voting ages, so I think it's extra important that all young people vote.
A lot of people have fought for your right to vote, and you should honor that.
You don't really have that much power. The fact that I can at least do one very tangible thing like voting makes me feel like I'm at least making a little bit of a difference.
You will determine the outcome of this election. Vote, vote, vote. If you're able to vote early in your state, vote early.
Suppressing our right to vote, they're using COVID as a way of scamming the system. And
which could disrupt the delivery of mail-in ballots and effectively deny some people the right to vote.
I want to ask every single American, no matter what party you normally vote for, to please take a moment to pause. Click off the news. Think about how you felt over these last 4 years, how quickly things have turned. And then think about what the next 4 years could mean for our country's future.
There's never been an election with higher stakes than the 2020 presidential election. And we're reminded of that constantly, all the time, every day. And the truth is, even with what feels like the weight of the world at stake, and maybe because of just that, it is so emotionally, physically, and mentally hard to vote.
We have one of the lowest voter turnout rates in the developed world, ranking 26th out of 32 countries. If Didn't Vote had been a candidate in the 2016 election, it would have won by a landslide. In fact, Didn't Vote would have won every single presidential election in the last 100 years.
Disclaimer, I have already mailed my absentee ballot, but I wasn't expecting it to be such a taxing process. Between the physical act of registering, receiving, casting, and mailing my ballot aside, the emotional tax of voting for a candidate that doesn't align with your political beliefs is just that, an emotional tax. The thing that ultimately justified my vote was something that my great-grandfather told me once. When you go to the polls, they tell you it only counts for one vote. But the fact of the matter is, the opinion you're expressing is for so many more people than just that. If you can't come up with a reason to cast a vote for yourself, I don't blame you. But do it for us, for people fighting for a future.
Each of you assembled here today decided that you were going to see that 10 other people are registered before the last day, which I think is next weekend, the 14th, I believe. Just see what a power you can be.
It amazes me to hear people say, well, I didn't vote because I didn't think it mattered. We have such a low voting percentage in this country that for every election, at every level, we're talking about 1, 2, 5, 10, 50 votes that determine who your mayor is, who your governor is, who your, council member is. Every vote absolutely matters, and people just take this for granted.
I come here to urge every person under the sound of my voice to go to the polls on the 3rd of November and vote your conviction.
This last election, in some of the swing states, the margin of difference was 5 votes per precinct.
Mark Twain once said, politicians are like diapers. They need to be changed, often and for the same reason. On November 3rd, vote, or shit happens.